Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. And of course, we have on set with us Mr. Ancil Dennis, political leader of the Tobago PNM Council. And of course, we are here to deal with a number of issues. Welcome, my friend. It's been a while since you've been on set. Mr. Ancil Dennis, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Brother B. Good morning, Juman. It's always a pleasure to be on Tobago Channel 5. Yes, it has been a while. I tend not to hog the spotlight, so I only come to the media when it's necessary.
All right. But just a backdrop as to, well, look, let me get straight into readiness for election. The acting Prime Minister, Mr. Stuart Young, in the absence of the Prime Minister being abroad for medical reasons and so on, said to his followers, get ready for election, start your canvassing, and he went on to encourage the team. Are we to be ready for election in this year, Mr. Dennis? Are you privy to that information? Or?
Well, I'm not privy to that, but the election is constitutionally due sometime in August next year. So I know we can expect it certainly when it is due. Of course, it can come before, but that is up to the Prime Minister at this time. But the People's National Movement, not only in Tobago, but across the country, stands ready for any election. We here in Tobago particularly are looking forward to ensuring that we win the 2 Tobago seats, that we retain them, and of course that when the time comes we return to the Tobago House of Assembly to rescue this island.
All right, let's go to the 2 Tobago seats that is most contentious in this upcoming national election. Is the PNM ready? Are we going to see the same 2 candidates? Are there 2 new candidates? Could you share that with us this morning?
We are definitely ready, right? I have confidence in the 2 incumbent MPs. Of course, the party has a process for the selection of candidate, and once they are interested in returning, they are expected to submit themselves to the process. And we are looking forward to a long-standing, very robust process of screening and selecting the best candidates. So we are looking forward to that exercise. So as I said before, the PNM is ready. I heard that Trevor James indicating to the public that he's suddenly interested in running for a general election. And we are prepared to take on all the possible contenders to ensure that we keep the 2 Tobago seats in the hands of the People's National Movement. And I want to say to the people of Tobago, one man, Trevor James, coming to say that we should put him in the parliament to use his 1 vote, his 1 seat out of 41, to suddenly change laws in the parliament that he believes need to change, is absolute rubbish. There are 41 votes in the parliament, and to make significant changes you need a majority in the parliament. Of course, there's a super majority which I think is beyond 30 seats, which allows for certain changes to the constitution. And the last government that had such a majority was since 1986, when A.N.R. Robinson won 33-3.
Okay, and I would come back to the Trevor James situation, because there's more to speak to that. But when we look at 2021 to date, with the PNM being out of the administration, 𝐃𝐄, what can you boast in terms of the PNM's contribution to the development of Tobago over the last few years?
Oh, what can I boast about the PNM's contribution to Tobago's development? Of course, we have been... And I'm
speaking specifically, yes, since out of office.
We have been a very potent minority, and I want to again publicly congratulate the minority leader, Assemblyman Kelvin Morris, and the councillor, Mrs. Petal Daniel Benoit, who I believe at all times have kept this administration in check. Almost every week we see some scandal, some evidence of mismanagement, some evidence of corruption being exposed by them and the party generally. So I think we have done tremendously well as a minority team in the Tobago House of Assembly. As a party, we continue to ensure that we remain in touch with the people of Tobago. We have conducted numerous walkabouts, numerous political meetings. We actually have a walkabout in the community of Belgarden later today, and a political meeting in that same community on Sunday at 5 p.m. So if you're free and you want to hear about some real issues and real plans and real vision for the people of Tobago, feel free to come on down. You could sit at the back so that people will not associate you with the PNM as a media professional.
Yes.
So we are proud of our track record in Tobago in and out of government, and I am sure that the same cannot be said about our opponents here in Tobago who sit in the seat of power in Tobago at this point in time.
But how do you respond to the accusations or allegations that the PNM party is involved with political interference and utilizing state apparatus and those kind of stuff? You have any comment on that? As recent as you mentioned, Mr. James earlier on.
2 words, absolute rubbish. And I saw Trevor James sitting possibly in this very seat, making some ridiculous allegations that do not make sense. And I find it a bit unfortunate that when I saw you suggesting that Trevor James always brings a historical perspective and he brings history. The word history also means accuracy. It's an accurate representation of events. And what Trevor James brings to the table, certainly on that occasion and typically, wasn't any history. It was falsehoods, total lies, and a misrepresentation of the reality, which is understandable because he's in a desperate situation, and desperate people grasp at straws. As it is always said, a drowning man will even grasp at straws, and we know it is impossible for a straw to save a drowning man. So Trevor James is desperate, he is out of touch with reality, and is prepared to come to the media and say anything, and therefore we cannot take anything said by a desperate man as facts or as an accurate representation of history. And let me just correct something that he said. He said that in 2015, Orville London was forced out of leadership of the Tobago Council because of some disconnect between him and Dr. Rowley, the political leader at the national level, over the autonomy bill. The history is that Orville London stepped aside as political leader of the PNM in 2016, not 2015. We had an internal election in 2016. And he made a decision long before that. He decided, for those who were paying attention, that 2013 to 2017 was going to be his last term in office. Why? Because he spent 16 years contributing to the people of Tobago in the most respectful, in the most dignified way. A long track record, a long illustrious career in public life. And he opted to retire at that point in time because I think he was over 70. So it had nothing to do with any autonomy bill. It had nothing to do with any disagreement with Dr. Rowley, right? So Trevor James must not come publicly and lie to the people of Tobago to treat with his desperate situation.
All right, Mr. Dennis, you have had your quota of controversy while in office as well as Chief Secretary, and some of them may be answered up to today and some still
what are some of those controversies?
And of course, you know what happened. I mean, you don't want to go back.
No,
let's come now to this. And I'm just saying,
you can't
public officials,
you can't mention controversies without giving some specifics.
No. All right.
So tell me one controversy that occurred while I was Chief Secretary, right, from the period May 2020, May 6th, I remember it as if it was yesterday, May 6, 2020 to December the 9th, 2021. What controversy occurred during my time as Chief Secretary, not just with me, but my entire administration during that time? Tell me one controversy, especially at the magnitude that we are seeing now.
All right, okay. I would not go into details or try to put you on the spot, so to speak. However, the point I'm making, sir.
I'm not afraid of being put on the spot. I'm asking you to put me on the spot.
That public officials will get in some controversy, whether you want to or not.
And that's
it. Right. So I'm coming now to the Trevor James issue. And I'm asking you, sir, respectfully. Is it normal practice that a public official in the THE is subject to a reinvestigation or inspection of an official vehicle? A warrant was issued, and the warrant was to treat with seizure of his personal devices. How do you conjure up that to make sense that it is a legitimate practice of the state? Because this is state agencies who are actively carrying out, quote unquote, their duty under the guise that, is there a hidden agenda, Mr. Dennis? I mean, clearly, this has not been normal practice.
Right. So, firstly, let me say that I will hope that it is the practice that whenever public officials break the law, or whenever there is suspicion of an offense committed by a public official, I will hope that not only in Tobago, but in Trinidad and Tobago, the practice is that there will be investigations. And I think if we take a close look at our history, we will realize that that has been the practice. Because I can sit here and name at least 7 public officials on both sides of the political divide, PNM officials, UNC officials, who were subject to police investigations, including search warrants. The second thing is that we must not jump to conclusions. And again, we cannot take the word of a desperate man, because I am getting the impression that people in Tobago, and I can understand if his supporters are going down that road, but I'm getting the impression that even the media are buying wholesale the stories put forward by Trevor James, because as I sit here, I do not know the specific circumstances about this investigation, and nobody knows. Now, you are assuming it just had to do with some reinspection of a vehicle because Trevor James said that. But when I read the warrant spoke about the possibility of misbehavior in public office. And that is the only information that we have. I don't know if Farley Augustine, the Chief Secretary, has other information, because interestingly, one day after this development, he was in the media at a press conference defending Trevor James, which is most dangerous, because we do not know the details, we do not know if he's guilty, we do not know if there will be charges, we do not know the specifics of the investigation, but here we are buying wholesale the stories of Trevor James, and here we have a Chief Secretary in Tobago prepared to offer support, not knowing all the facts, and I think that is dangerous. And let's compare that to the posture of the PNM leader in the past, and I have to go there, because recently, I think it was in 2019 if I'm not mistaken, we had a situation where a minister of government, right, police went to her house on the suspicion that an offense was committed, and this was following a 6-year investigation. And I'm making this point specifically about 6 years because I hear people concluding that nothing came out of AudioGate, right? But we know that in this country, sometimes the police take ridiculously long to investigate criminal conduct. So let's not come to that conclusion as yet.
Because it's still ongoing, eh?
It's still ongoing. Right. But the point I'm making is that the posture of the Prime Minister with respect to that minister was, one, he await the facts and he await the progress of the investigation. And once that minister was charged, the Prime Minister relieved her of her duties from office. And that is how we expect leaders to conduct themselves. But the day after the investigation, the day after the search warrant was executed, we have a Chief Secretary coming out to offer solid support, not knowing the facts. None of us know why Trevor James is being investigated. He can speculate, but as responsible people, we must not buy into this speculation. We must await the findings. We must see where the investigation goes. The licensing officers have said nothing. The police officers have said nothing. And they ought not to say anything at this point in time. Let's wait. Let's see what they have to say. Let's see if the DPP will advise whether charges should be laid or not. And I hope the conversation will not be that the DPP is PNM. Because Trevor James even implied that the judiciary is being controlled by the PNM. A dangerous allegation. Okay. All because he's in trouble.
Okay, and just before we shift away, because I don't want to spend too much time speaking about one official, but there probably some weeks ago, there was a series of interviews or social media live videos going up involving Mr. Baines and Mr. James speaking about the Mary's Hill situation. Your name came up. So let's take the opportunity to debunk, if so.
But I've already debunked those claims. I gave responses publicly. And again, desperation. One word to describe those videos and those lives: desperation. Firstly, this administration claimed to be conducting an audit of certain programs that took place under the People's National Movement in the THA. To date, we have heard not one thing about that audit. As a matter of fact, the Chief Secretary has said time and time again that the audit was completed and reports were sent to the police. Recently, somebody from the public sent a Freedom of Information request asking this administration to produce the audit report because the public should be interested in that audit report. That audit report has been the basis of disqualification for several Tobago businesses from doing any work in Tobago, and the people of Tobago must take note of that. Of the projects done under this administration, of the projects valued at over $20 million especially, 100% of them have been done by contractors from outside of Tobago. And they have been using this audit report, this purported audit report, as the basis for that. When that request was submitted, the response was that there was no ongoing audit into certain programs. There is no completed audit. So if the audit is not completed, or perhaps not even ongoing, what is it that the Chief Secretary took to the House sometime in September of 2022, calling up the names of contractors in the House, alleging all kinds of corruption? What document was used? What is the justification for that in the absence of any completed audit? Right? So again, it's pure desperation. And I dare any of them, if there is any evidence of corruption on the part of anybody in the past, take it to the police. Okay. Let the police investigate. That is for the police to deal with.
All right, Mr. Dennis, we'll take a quick break and we'll come right back with you as we continue our conversation. And then we speak a little bit about Tobago's development and where we're going. So see you after the break.
Suffer from diabetes or high blood pressure, or just in need of a general checkup? Look no further. Visit Batson & Associates Limited, your holistic health experts, for your personalized program of solutions with a range of premium products and services tailored to suit your needs. Come and experience transformative healing with our team of specialists in natural and integrative medicine. Visit us or give us a call today at 222-8261 or 314-9975 and begin your journey to optimal health. And remember, if you think health is expensive, try sickness.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Visit McCorney Home Depot Limited in Richmond in their spanking new and spacious showroom. Get all your hardware needs, building materials, including blocks, steel, cement, and sand, household items, plumbing and electrical supplies, paint, tools, toilet sets, doors, ceiling fans, steel products, and much more. McCorney Home Depot Limited in Richmond. Catering from foundation to finish. Open Sunday to Friday from 8 a.m.
Have you visited Tobago Channel 5's Facebook or Instagram pages lately? Well, check them out now for all the interviews and up-to-date news. Remember to like, share, and follow for Tobago news and current affairs information at your fingertips.
I'll show you what is real, and you can tell me how you feel. Come on and let's talk Tobago. Beautiful places, such friendly faces.
Let's talk
Let's talk.
Let's talk. Let's talk.
Let's talk Tobago. We are back and we are back with a bang. In this season, we're featuring village life. From Crown Point to Charlottesville, you can catch it all right here.
Rise and shine in the morning is just part of my day.
From 6:30 to 8:30 every day. Foreign man says so.
It informs me of what happens in Tobago.
I find it to be so informative. Every aspect of Tobago affairs is being discussed there. So I will continue to look at Rise and Shine. That's my thing.
Monday to Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m.
I love Rise and Shine.
Leader of the Tobago P&M Council, Mr. Ancil Dennis, and of course we were right in the middle, and of course we dealt with the whole question of particular secretary, Mr. James, and issues surrounding his home being searched and equipment seized, and of course Mr. Dennis spoke to that. And right, so let's go now to the development issues. Obviously, the opening of the roundabout that we're all happy for. You're smiling. I guess that you're happy that we have a roundabout down at the lowlands.
But it's certainly not the first roundabout in Tobago.
But isn't
and while I'm not against Tobago's development, I would have preferred the roundabout to be done in a better way, right? I don't think the project is a quality one, and people have been complaining. I don't think enough time. I don't think enough time was spent conceptualizing the project properly. And if you look at it carefully, there is some misalignment in terms of the width of the road in certain parts of the roundabout. Secondly, I think the markings on the road need to be cleaned up and properly thought out. Yes. And let's have something of quality. Let's not rush to open projects just to have something to celebrate. The second thing is, people of Tobago are to accept that project was conceptualized to be a complete road leading to the new airport facility. We do not have that at this point in time. And if all we want to celebrate is a roundabout, when the initial concept was to be that road to provide access to the new airport terminal building, then that's fine. But I'm saying as well that Tobago was in a position to benefit from that road being done completely done and financed by the central government. The THA opted to do it to the tune of, well, it's over $70 million by now, because we have to take into consideration the legal matters that are before the courts. And I saw Trevor James again implying that the judiciary is deliberately stymieing them. Again, ridiculous claims, because had he followed the law, had he done what he was supposed to do, then that road would have been fully completed by now. There would not have been any court matter. And you can't do things to land in the courthouse and then you want to tell the officers in the courthouse when your court date should be. It doesn't work like that.
But you said something earlier, I just want to get it clear. So are you saying that the central government earmarked that project and allocated funds to do that entire project? And
so let me repeat, because this is not new. When the airport terminal building was being conceptualized, it was always known that there will need to be a road to give access to that terminal building. So as part of the concept, there was a dual carriageway road included in the project, and it was going to be financed by the central government fully. The only involvement the teacher would have had is in the procurement process, right? And of course, we would have ensured that a contractor from Tobago would have been selected to do that work, because while we may not have contractors capable of building an airport terminal building, we definitely do have contractors in Tobago quite capable of building roads, roundabouts, and that sort of thing. So that road was initially conceptualized as a project to be done and fully financed by the central government, and therefore the THE would have been able to use its $70 million, its $100 million, or whatever is available to do other projects.
Okay.
This THE opted to do it themselves for obvious reasons.
But THE was marred by a number of stumbling blocks, should we say. One, the EMA. Two, the property owners. Hold on, the requirement was to get the approval from the EMA and, of course, to ensure that the owners of the properties were well compensated and sorted out. Hence, the road has not progressed the way it should be. The PNM was accused of weaponizing even the property owners to prevent the progress of Tobago, so to speak. Some were labeled as squatters in a particular instance. How do you respond to that? So would the PNM have had a smooth sailing? Had they taken on this project, Mr. Dennis?
So do you believe that me or anybody in the PNM will go and talk to property owners, especially Mr. Rampersad from Quiet in Trinidad, to take Trevor James to court? Do you believe that? No answer. Right? But let's be real. Every single project done in this country and on this island must be done in accordance with the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. And you call them stumbling blocks. I don't refer to them as stumbling blocks. Right? Those were self-created difficulties created by the embattled Secretary of Infrastructure, Trevor James himself. Because had they followed the requirements of the law, basic law, you know, if you have a piece of land, Brother B, and the government intends to pass a road through your land, don't you expect at least discussion? Don't you expect to be compensated for your land? And even if they want to buy the land, there are two ways the government can acquire land for public purposes. They can approach you and say, Brother B, let's negotiate. I want to buy the land for you if you are interested in selling it. And if not, the other option, of course, is compulsory acquisition. So this secretary, this administration, they went ahead, they broke the law. The law requires that for a project of that magnitude, you get a certificate of environmental clearance. They ignored that, went ahead, started the project without that. Somebody in the THE, not the PNM, it was a worker in the THE, reported the THE to the EMA for the breach of the law. The EMA took action. They went to the court. They then humbled themselves and said, okay, we will produce the CEC. They went ahead, they produced the CEC. Then you had complaints from 2 or 3 residents in the area saying that they were not consulted. They just got up one morning and realized bulldozers were outside of their homes. Is this the way we conduct business in Tobago, Brother B? Should that be allowed? Should the court sit aside and allow that? Because while you may have, and we like to talk about dictatorship and democracy under threat, the only threat to democracy in Tobago is Farley Augustine and his team. Right. And I have to say that. Okay. And therefore you have the courthouse in place to protect the people from rogue administrations like that, because had it not been for the courthouse, Mr. Rampersad and Mr. Walters and the other persons affected by this would have been taken advantage of. The lands would have been bulldozed, the houses would have been bulldozed with no compensation from the state. And therefore the court is a place of redress to ensure that there is a balance and a check on power, especially in circumstances where there are people who believe that they are above the law and they could do anything they want in this place.
All right, Mr. Dennis, all right. So there are other projects that were undertaken. Let's go now to the one that I think has, well, of course you have the development, redevelopment of the Stormy facility to accommodate better, care for the vendors there and so on. Okay. In terms of consultation, where is the PNM? Obviously, all interests has a stake in that piece of real estate and the iconic beach. Just your take on the process going forward. Something was put out, a design, and of course, there are some people who are not happy.
Again, the process is seriously flawed, and I cannot understand. Okay, after your first 6 months in power, you're wetting your feet, you're finding your way around. You may put your head and stumble a bit, but we're in the 3rd year, and these people still can't get anything right. Because if you're doing a project of this nature, how is it that we have a concept in the public domain and critical stakeholders are saying they were not consulted and they do not agree with the design. To the extent where we saw a release coming from the Division of Tourism, as if they think we are fools, saying that the concept is not finalized. We don't know how much it's going to cost. Fate be Israel even implied that we don't know where the money is coming from. I have the screenshot of a comment. The Deputy Chief Secretary implied that this administration does not know where the money is coming from to do this project. So the concept is not final. We don't know where the money is coming from, but yet you have a concept in the public domain. Is that the way we do things in Tobago? How do you have a concept out in the public, right? Saying to vendors, because they started talking to vendors, that we expect you to move by X date or Y date, and you're now coming to say in a release, in a subsequent release, that it's not final, we do have a start date, we don't know how much it's going to cost. So why was a concept out in the public in the first place? Total and complete mismanagement.
Are there any projects that, you being the political leader of the PNM Council in Tobago, are there any projects that this current administration would have embarked on, completed, that you are satisfied with from a Tobago development standpoint? I'm asking. I mean, you're here with us this morning. This Friday.
I must say,
Why you laugh? Why you laugh? Why you laugh?
I must say I agree with the relaxation of the dress code for public buildings. Not to the extent where I believe people should be able to dress how they want, but I appreciate the fact that the Chief Secretary and this administration in the very onset of their leadership of Tobago decided that they were going to relax the dress code so people could wear their little short pants and go into public office. I think that is about the only thing, in my opinion, that they would have been done right. And I'm not being facetious. What else did they deliver? The indoor sporting complex. Not the indoor, sorry.
Indoor.
The beach football or the beach volleyball arena in Blackrock. According to them, that is completed. Drive by that facility and tell me if in your mind, if in your opinion, it is completed.
But
right?
it was done for a particular purpose.
Right, but it has to be completed. You have banks being eroded, no completion to the banks. Is that how we complete a facility for the people of Tobago? No, that facility is incomplete. Right, what else did they deliver? The roundabout. And I spoke about that, right? They did another road somewhere in Scarborough for $19 million. As far as I'm concerned, that $19 million could have been better spent elsewhere. There are other critical issues. You have Turpin Bend to be fixed, which we had on the table. We had selected a contractor and everything, just ready to go with the project. They canceled it because it was a Tobago contractor, and they prefer to give their Trinidad friends projects. You have that place there coming out of...
Let's take a pin.
Just now, let me finish. Coming out of Bell Garden there, you have Bad Rock. That is something they could have spent that $70 million and fixed. So I really can't sit here and say that this administration has delivered successfully and effectively to the people of Tobago.
All right, let's go back quickly to that Turpin Bend, and that has been there for how many years? The PNM spent 20 years and that was never fixed. You said that your party, or the PNM, was about to fix it, and then you didn't have. Just is it just convenient talk, or is it just?
No. Those are facts. It can be proven. If you want, I could send you the documents where we were engaged with 𝐂𝐶. We went through a procurement process. We had the designs. A contractor was selected, and the project was about to be executed. But you mentioned 20 years. But an administration could spend 100 years in office. They cannot and will not fix every issue. But progressively, things will be done. While we did not fix Turpin Bend, we built several other roads in Tobago. Right. We built dozens of community facilities in Tobago. Okay. And just now, we like to talk about 16 years. Let me tell you about 16 years. In 2001, Orbie London was voted into office. In 2005, he had to go back to the people of Tobago to say, I did XYZ, give us another term. Guess what? The people of Tobago give them another term. In 2009, he had to go back to the people of Tobago. From 2005 to now, I did XYZ, give us another term. The same thing happened in 2013. The same thing happened in 2017. In 2021, the people of Tobago decided otherwise. Guess what? In 2025, December thereabout, this rogue, corrupt administration must come back to the people of Tobago and say to us, over the last 4 years, we did XYZ, give us another term, and the people of Tobago will get to decide. I hear them talking about the PNM got 20 years, so we should get 20 years too. That is not how it works. Every 4 years, you go to the people and you state your case, and the people decide if you will keep your work.
Okay.
And I'm waiting to see if the people of Tobago will decide that this bunch of misfits will get to keep their work.
All right, Mr. Dennis, we got to leave it there. And of course, we want to thank you for being here. And of course, we wait to hear who the two representatives are for the PNM, or will be rather, for the upcoming general.
So you're not waiting to hear the 15 for the THA?
We'll come to the THA. All right, so with that, hey, we want to thank you again. All the best to you for being here with us this morning.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Very good. We go for a break, and when we come back, we acknowledge Tobago Carnival in October. You're playing mass, Mr. Dennis?
No, I don't have the mass body as yet.
All right, okay. See you after the break.
I'll show you